So, in my experience, having been in sales for several years, there's been a few really big paradigm shifts that I've had, especially recently as I've been growing my own business. And for those that don't know me, when I started in the business world, way back in the day in college, I started as a door to door salesman. And door to door salesmen have this uh, reputation for being really pushy because all they have is that few seconds on the doorstep to get you to buy something. So that's what I was taught. I was taught how to overcome objections, push past smoke screens, drive to the sale, close, 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 close. And so doing that for 10 hours a day for 3 years straight, really, I mean, there was a lot of good things that came from door to door. I will say, like making good first impressions, body language, tonality, nonverbal communication, the work ethic, like right grit, knowing how to go and be very, gregarious in doing what I was doing. It was there were great lessons. I attribute a lot of who I am today, as far as my work ethic and drive, to those years in door to door sales. The problem is when you're in door to door sales, you know, the most basic training that you'll get in door to door is a framework that's just overall very pushy, very basic, and trying to drive for sales on the doorstep. And it misses a lot of the key aspects of what selling really is. And since I've been running a business, I've learned a lot that sales is about actually serving people. It sounds crazy, but it's about actually helping people overcome their fears, about helping them make a decision that's good for them. And for that to be the case, you need to be representing or selling a product that's actually helpful and like actually serves people and that they believe in, or sorry, that you believe in, and that your conviction can be shared with them enough to they'll make a buying decision and get themselves involved in something that will actually help them, like a fitness coaching program that actually helps people get in shape, no matter how much it costs. If it costs $10,000, which some of them do, but it actually changes your life, that's worth way more than $10,000. So if you're selling that product, it is your duty to hold that conviction, know the product's good, and then bring that conviction on every single sales call. Because if you don't help close that prospect who needs that service, then you have failed them in essence. So that's how I view my business now: is everything from top of funnel to bottom of funnel. When someone comes across my content or my ads, my whole goal with everything I'm doing now is to find the people that actually need my service, my product, get them onto a call, and be an advisor, someone who is able to add hundreds of millions of dollars in value to their life in a simple phone call by beginning a partnership with them to do right. In this case, with my business now, I help them scale their business. I helped install trained closers on a commission basis to grow their revenue. But I had to overcome a lot of old habits that I gained in door to door from the very beginning. The habit to not really listen, not diagnose, not dive into pain, not talk around their interests and their needs, but rather to pitch a product, to push for the close, to overcome and push through smoke screens instead of actually listening and diagnosing. And this was actually it's still something I'm learning. But it was a really big challenge coming from door to door sales where, and this is the case in every sales industry, basic sales training is dog water all across the board because it's so hard to teach a normal person how to actually be a top performing sales rep and how to actually help people and diagnose pain points and frame offers around pain points. And not only that, but to then close the prospect on a high ticket offer, right? Persuade them to spend a lot of money on something that's going to end up having a 10, 20, 100x return on investment for them, right? Because in the moment, people get blinders. They're afraid. They get stuck because they don't know how to make a decision that's good for them. They're scared to spend money because they're afraid of the risk, but they don't recognize that the potential upside. So your goal as a sales rep, if you're a top performer, is to help them recognize not only the possibility of what could come and frame it, the whole offer around their goals, but also help them recognize the 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 risk of inaction. You're helping them recognize on the call, by the way, here's what you will lose if you keep trying to do the same thing, if you don't make a change. Only when you do those two things and then you know how to properly close can you actually persuade people to make buying decisions that are really good for them. And so I've framed my entire company around this whole thesis that sales is service. Sales is service. And the thing is, you get a lot of money hungry bastards in sales that, because they're selfish, because they just want a quick buck, it shows on their sales calls. And even if they're getting lots of leads, even if they can go knock 100 more doors, they'll never be a top performer because they're selfish. And I fear that my foundations in door-to-door sales, or I used to fear that I wouldn't be able to grow out of that because it had been so ingrained in me as a door-to-door salesman to push for the sale. But now I'm grateful. At one point, I served a volunteer mission where I actually went out for 2 years, volunteered my time with no pay, and I served people for 2 years. And that really taught me a lot about, fulfillment and what's really meaningful in life. Because I was able to go out every day. I woke up every day at 6:30. I went to bed at 10:30, and every hour in between, I was doing something in the service of other people, with the exception of eating food, right? So when I got back from that and I got back into the game, started getting into business again in sales, I had this new framework with which I viewed sales. And it wasn't to make the most amount of money. It wasn't to close everyone that breathes, but rather it was to actually either sell or create an offer that is truly valuable, that can make a difference, and have a vision where you're growing something meaningful, you're building something meaningful. Because only then, with thanking God, the integrity that I had developed over the course of that volunteer mission, I could then take that into the business world with me and build a brand, build a vision, build a business around that. And that's my whole goal right now. And it's what I'm building every day, from when I wake up at 5:30 in the morning to when I go to bed at 11 p.m. at night. Every hour, I try to live my life in the service of other people. And I've found that private business and building an offer and building something valuable is the way that I can do that the most. Because right in the next year, I could build a business that's doing $100,000 a month in revenue and serving X amount of companies and individuals. In a matter of 5 years, I can build a company that's doing $1 million a month and serving that many more people. 10 years, 20 years, so on and so forth. I view entrepreneurship as the most service-based activity and career that I could pursue. And that's why I can do it for 12 hours a day without getting burnt out, and why it gives me passion and why I care so deeply about it. But sales in general is the lifeblood of business. And it's also just, we're in the business of persuasion. We're in the business of service and helping other people make decisions that will literally change their life. And if you view sales as anything different than that or anything less than that, then you are leaving so much on the table as far as not only revenue, but fulfillment in your own life, because fulfillment comes from actually serving people. So it's a big paradigm shift I had. And at Closer Launch that I'm building right now, when we install pre-trained and vetted closers into businesses to help them scale revenue, this is exactly what we share with them. This is exactly what we teach them. This is how we pre-train and pre-vet them, so that the companies that we work with that have these closers, they're actually able to be successful in the short term and in the long term. So I've got obviously a lot of info about my company on the YouTube channel, on my Instagram, my LinkedIn, my Facebook. But I just want to use opportunities with this long form content to also share the paradigm shifts that I've had about business, why what we're doing is beginning to work more and more, so that other people can do the same thing. And not only that, but have the fulfillment that I've been able to taste in my day-to-day life as an entrepreneur. Because there's no doubt that there are hard days, hard as hell, as being an entrepreneur. But if you have a vision, it pulls you. Like Steve Jobs said, you don't have to be pushed because the vision pulls you. And that's how I feel every day. And I'm grateful for that, even through the hard days. So Thanks for watching. Make sure that something from this video you actually take to heart and apply to your business or to your career, because I can promise if you just serve people and focus on living in the service of other people, your entire framework for approaching life, you will have more fulfillment.